What's up, interwebs? This video is going to be all about some new development happening in the Southeast Valley. We've talked a lot on my various social media about affordability of housing and that prices just keep kind of going up. And a lot of that's because just so many people moving to the valley. We continue to grow. We are now, Phoenix specifically is the 5th largest city in the United States. We're continuing to grow, and we're not going to see really any kind of slowdown of that because we're continuing to add more businesses, more jobs. Companies are moving factories out here, moving their offices, like all sorts of businesses are moving out here. They're not here yet, which means we're going to have more people coming to the valley for the work that's here. One thing that I think is going to alleviate most of the housing inventory shortage we have right now is the development that's going to be happening in the Southeast Valley. Now, we are years away from it really making a big impact, but in the next 10 to 15 years, I think the Southeast Valley is going to look completely different. So let me show you what I'm talking about.
All right, so the area we're going to talk about is referred to as Superstition Vistas. You'll notice here we've got Mesa Gateway Airport. This is Eastmark area, 202 that wraps around, Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek's here, Santan Valley's down here. So this whole area here, all the way around here, is considered Superstition Vistas. This is all state-owned land that's part of Pinal County. Now, back in 2007, they were preparing to sell off this land, just like they did with Santan Valley. And then the market crashed, so they pulled it back. And it's actually a good thing, I think, that this didn't sell at that point. Because for those that live in Santan Valley or lived in Santan Valley early on, know that there was not a lot of infrastructure. There was really just Hunt Highway here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Really, the only way in and out of Santan Valley was Hunt Highway here. And this was like a 2-lane road, so it got backed up so bad, and there just wasn't the infrastructure there to support all of the housing. As they've started to prepare, as Pinal County started to prepare to sell off this land, a couple things they've done is, one, they have the builders is selling to, there's an expectation that they are going to commit a certain amount of funds to infrastructure. And they've already sold off a part of the land up here in this upper corner right here. Basically, this section here, I believe it's, Ironwood's down the middle of it, and then it goes from here at Meridian out here to Idaho, I believe. And I believe it's this section here is the first part they've sold off. 2,800 acres, I think it's 2,880 acres, sold for $250 million earlier this year. Now, it was reported in a lot of places that they bought all of this. They did not buy all of it. They literally bought this little square up here. Now, so builders that are going to be building have to commit a certain amount of funds to infrastructure. ADOT, just about a month ago, released their environmental impact statement and record of decision. This here's a map of the new freeway. So Pinal County realized that when they did Santan Valley, they did a real big disservice by making only surface streets available to access all of this. This is what the freeway is going to look like, give or take a little bit. The fact that we're at tier 1, so the very beginning of this process, they're still processing exactly where all of the roads are going to be, where they're going to do on and off ramps. But the gist of it is that it's going to pick up here in Apache Junction, Gold Canyon area. If you've ever driven the 60 out toward Gold Canyon or like Superior, where it turns and goes from a freeway to being more like a highway, that's where that interchange is going to be, and it's going to take us south. And then the 24 here is where people get off to go to Eastmark or the Southeast Valley, like Santan Valley and stuff like that. That's going to continue on and meet up with this new freeway here. This freeway is going to go all the way down to the I-10 between Eloy and Picacho Peak. This map's a little confusing as to where that is. So let's go back here. The freeway is literally going to go from this junction here all the way down through Santan Valley, past Florence, past Coolidge, go kind of along the 87 here, and end up down here. So my guess is they might utilize this interchange here at the 87, just past Picacho Peak, which is right here. I think they'll probably integrate that in somehow. Maybe not. I could also see them doing interchange here, but I think they really want to kind of take a straight shot. And honestly, for folks that live in this part of town, coming from Tucson, being able to hop on a freeway right here and just go straight up into town as opposed to having to go around, that's going to be huge. But for all the folks that live out here, this freeway running here is going to be huge for accessibility to the rest of the valley. Now, for those of you who are like, well, that's a huge commute for somebody who works in downtown Phoenix. Yes. However, one of the major things happening in the Southeast Valley right now is a new employment corridor that's happening right here along Mesa Gateway Airport. There's employment corridors all over the valley. We have one here along Price Road, just south of the 101. That's where a lot of high tech, PayPal's there. Northrop Grumman's got a facility there. There's a bunch of like financial places here. One of the other big employment centers is along the 17 here. The West Valley is building up massive employment corridor along here. So for those that are in the Southeast Valley, the people who are going to buy houses in this area, Superstition Vistas is what we're going to call it, this employment corridor here is a big deal and around the airport. So if you've not driven on the South 202 here, if you drive on it now, there are a ton of new commercial buildings going up in here, warehouses, storage, stuff like that. I know that there's some other, I know there's an Amazon data center that's supposed to be going up in this area. So this is going to be the employment zone for all the people that live out here. So all of a sudden out here, especially Santan Valley, is not going to feel the middle of nowhere anymore. It is a trek if you want to go back to the main part of the valley like Phoenix, Tempe, those kind of areas. But for a lot of these folks, a lot of people in Queen Creek do the same thing now in Gilbert. This is where life is at, and they're okay with that. There's going to be work. There's going to be entertainment. Queen Creek is doing a lot for their shopping center here with food, with shopping, with entertainment, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of what's happening in the Southeast Valley, and I think is what's going to be the primary alleviator of our housing shortage. But again, this isn't going to be a quick fix. It's not going to fix it tomorrow. We're talking down the road a ways, probably 10 to 15 years before we see really major development out here. This is the direction we're moving in the Southeast Valley.
Now, I've grown up in the valley my entire life. I grew up really from about age 4 till 20 in South Scottsdale. And I remember coming down to Chandler, where I live now, to race BMX bikes, the Chandler BMX track, which is still here. But I remember camping out in fields where there's houses now, like a whole couple developments of houses. It is not going to surprise me to see that development happen in the Southeast Valley over there. But it's kind of hard to comprehend right now, just like it was hard to comprehend back 30 years ago what this area of Chandler would look like. So it's going to take some time, but I think that's the move that we're making that's going to cause a lot of change in the Southeast Valley.